Playmobil Spies Vacation Fright. Story by My Playmobil Empire. In the previous episode of Playmobil Spies Vacation Fright, the spies decided to go on a holiday in Hawaii, but after Eliza got out of her bath, she discovered Claire to be missing. Eliza quickly called her boss Tom, who sent another spy named Freddie to help her. They discovered a piece of Claire's dress stuck in a crack in the bed. After pulling the piece of cloth out, they revealed a white gaping hole which sucked them both into a seemingly never-ending tunnel. After Eliza and Freddie were pulled into the hole, they began sliding down a twisting tunnel. After falling for some time, eventually a small trapdoor opened beneath them and they fell through it into a small, dark room. Freddie and Eliza quickly stood up on their feet and began to investigate their surroundings. They concluded that the room must be a small storage room as there were two large baskets in it. Suddenly, they heard footsteps and a voice advancing closer towards them. Freddie quickly motioned to Eliza to hide in one of the baskets. Fortunately, the baskets were large enough. There was still plenty of room inside the basket after they've each occupied one. Just when they've closed the lid of the basket, the footsteps arrived at the storage room. The footsteps belonged to a man of around 50 who wore a red cap and was muttering to himself.
I'm quite sure that I've heard things landing or I'm hallucinating, but I remember that there were some of this morning. Surely it couldn't be that soon before I have to transport more things. My mysterious boss seems to be a very odd person. I've worked for her for so many years and I haven't even seen her appearance for once. Our only communication was by telephone, which was how I figured out that she is a woman. She always tells me to transport things to the port. Not only do I never know what these things were, but also their final destination was ever a mystery to me.
Whilst muttering to himself, the man lifted the basket up onto a lorry.
Oh my! What exactly is it here that makes it so heavy? The load this morning have already given me a severe back pain. Now she tells me to lift more? If this continues, I'll certainly quit.
Eliza and Freddie suddenly felt extremely exhausted after hearing his mutterings, and they gradually dozed off into a sleep. Eliza and Freddie finally woke up after an uncountable amount of time has elapsed. They climbed out of the baskets to discover that they were in another small, dim storage room, similar to the one that they've just left. It took them a while before they groped their way out. However, what met their eyes when they arrived outside was a vast piece of barren wasteland. Except for some bushes here and there, all they could perceive was sand everywhere they looked. They have been strolling aimlessly around the area for a while before they heard noises of machines. They walked towards the direction of the sound and they discovered a group of people working in a construction site. They were young, old, male and female. Some wore pajamas, others wore dresses. They definitely do not look like construction workers at all, but they all have a spade in their hands and were all digging for something. Suddenly, Eliza exclaimed, "Oh my god, isn't that Claire over there?" Eliza and Freddie quickly dashed towards Claire. Eliza said, "Claire, why are you here? What are you digging? Do you know how worried everyone is because of you?" However, to their astonishment, Claire did not seem to recognize Eliza at all. She just stared blankly in front of her like a robot without any thoughts or emotions whatsoever. At that very instant, they heard a high-pitched laugh coming from behind. They turned around and perceived a woman wearing a pink party dress walking towards them. The woman said, "There's no need to waste your energy. Claire will not recognize you no matter how hard you try." "Who are you and what have you done to Claire?" Eliza inquired furiously. "Oh my, another bad-tempered and desperate woman," exclaimed the woman in the pink dress. "You really want to know, don't you? Well, fine. I will tell you, since it would not be long before you become one of my slaves here, too. I'm the famous American geologist Janet Stevenson. According to my study, that took me more than 10 years, this piece of land that is situated in the Pacific Ocean was once submerged in the sea. It only surfaced from the ocean around, 3 million years ago. Therefore, there is a very high possibility that there are precious metals buried deep underneath the ground. I need lots of people to help me dig up those precious metals. So I bought the Madeline Hotel 5 years ago and constructed a secret tunnel leading from room 201 to the hotel storage room. Every single year, at this time, I'll activate this passage and let the guests staying in room 201 to travel down the tunnel and fall into the large basket. Afterwards, I pay people to transport them off to the port, and then they are brought here to be my slaves. All the processes are kept secret, as I place the fragrant smile in the baskets that encourages sleep. Even the transportation workers will not detect anything wrong with it. After they're transported here, I let them drink a potion that will make them forget everything of their past and follow my orders to dig out those treasures for me without any complaint. Eliza suddenly perceived a blue bottle in Stevenson's hand, so she said, "Is that the antidote you're holding in your hand? Don't be so obstinate. Give me the bottle and confess your crime. Maybe it could be extenuated because of this." Stevenson smirked. Very funny indeed. My plan is so close to success. Why would you think that I will give you the antidote now? Be practical and give up your daydreaming. Without warning, Eliza walked in front of Stevenson and slapped her on the face. Freddie, who was standing behind them, was very shocked that Eliza would perform such a daring move. After the slap, Eliza scolded with tears in her eyes. "You selfish, wicked woman! Has your conscience been eaten by dogs? Do you know that whilst you kept those people here to be your slaves, how much their relatives, family, and friends have missed them? You've only thought about your own future and wealth but completely ignored the feelings of others. How dare you treat the feelings of others like rubbish and step on them, you monster!" Stevenson was absolutely furious after she was slapped and scolded by Eliza. She shouted, "How dare you slap me on the face? Game on!" She finished with a kick, trying to take Eliza by surprise. Fortunately, Eliza was extremely agile and was able to duck just in time. "Give me the antidote!" Eliza exclaimed, and they started fighting for a long time, but were still unable to announce the winner. Without warning, Stevenson jumped onto the branch behind her and cried, "Slaves, capture the two unwelcome visitors. You will have new friends soon." The captives, after hearing the boss's command, used their spades and tools as weapons, slowly advanced towards Eliza and Freddie. Eliza and Freddie ran out of space to move backwards. What could they do now? At this very instant, the intelligent Freddie had an idea. He took out a rope with a hook attached to its end and swung it towards the excavator in the near distance. After making sure that it is absolutely secure, he and Eliza grabbed hold of the rope and swung themselves in the direction of Stevenson. The agile Eliza successfully snatched the bottle containing the antidote away from her. Afterwards, Eliza and Freddie fed everyone a portion of the antidote, and they all recovered their memories and helped Freddie and Eliza catch Stevenson, who was planning an escape. Police soon arrived as well and captured Stevenson. Yay, another mission accomplished. The end. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to like my video and subscribe to my YouTube channel.